All right.
All right, so this is the testing UX research product meeting. So on the agenda today, I wanted to talk through if there's anything remaining in 12.6 that needs design with Juan, and a quick check-in on how the 12.7 items are coming along. With the purpose there is to make sure that the testing team can view this async or view the agenda and get updates, and we'll carry those over into the issues or ask questions on our testing meeting next week. And then we'll dig in on the item that's in solution validation and talk through the things that we have in problem validation.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I'll try to share my screen. So in 12.6, it looks like the show a graph for code coverage has a deliverable tag, but is still in the workflow design state.
Yeah, that one's coming along. I think it's like we have a good baseline based on that issue that we discussed. Like we have been discussing things on the issue. I shared those designs with the CI/CD designers yesterday, and they had some feedback. And I can probably put that on the issue so like people can see it. But the main feedback that I got from it is like, yes, it looks good, but there were two concerns. One was what happens when there's a monorepo that might have like a lot of languages. So like if we're gonna stack the graphs, I couldn't answer that question because I don't know exactly how many languages can like live in a monorepo, and I don't know how testing works. Like when it comes to code coverage, how does it work in a monorepo? I don't know if like when someone deploys to a monorepo, it tests absolutely everything. I don't know how that's configured. So I probably wanted to discuss that with you, but like, yeah. So the concern was if there's like more than, let's say like 10 languages, like if you're gonna stack 10 of those graphs, then it's gonna look pretty bad. Probably it's not gonna be usable at all, right? So that was one concern. And then the other concern was also about the stacked graph. Apparently there's an issue somewhere, and I have the link. I can put it in the issue as well. There's kind of like some accessibility concerns about stacking graphs. Apparently when you do that, like people with site issues, they kind of like have like trouble consuming those graphs. So all that kind of like made me think that maybe we should go back to the model that I had at the beginning, which is like a drop down where you select the language. So if you have like, let's say 10 languages, you can just like kind of like toggle through them, right? Like, so you could like select JavaScript, Ruby, Lua, whatever you have like your tests written on, like whatever you're testing. So that made me think that could be the solution. But yeah, I wanted to hear your opinions on that.
I mean, it seems like anybody who's spitting out code coverage on 10 languages in a monorepo, it feels like it's going to be an edge case.
Okay.
And for a minimum viable change, I feel like we'll be okay. Like we'll hit a nice 80-20 kind of split with this is going to work for 80% of users. And yeah, we could keep spinning on it before we release the MVC. I'm sure we're going to have folks who it does not work for.
Okay.
But I'm going to have to just refresh myself on the issue. But I thought we tackled this problem already in talking through it. Like there's one code coverage metric that we were going to target and use that, but I could be mistaken. So let me refresh on the issue, async, and then I'll comment back. If you can put those concerns in to the design and just make sure that we have them documented in the issue.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That way we can document how we made the decision, why we made the decision for the MVC.
Right. Okay, I'll do that. I was planning to do that today anyway, so I'll do that. Perfect. And then you can like chime in synchronously. Let me just take a note of that. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna add that after the call. All right. So the other thing was in the visual review app, which is in development right now. There was one decision that I think it was never taken. So the decision, this basically, this happened like a month ago. I suggested that like, yes, like you should be able to submit the feedback anonymous, like as an anonymous person, but we shouldn't like explicitly kind of like have like an option that it's like submit as an anonymous person. Like basically what you should be able to do is like, you can pick whatever name you want, and then like the email address is optional, right? So you can like pick an alias, for instance, right? So like it will be like the only thing that it's mandatory is the name. The email address is optional. So like that kind of like keeps like the anonymous behavior of the functionality, and then you can just, if you want to say like John Doe or like anonymous, that will be fine because that's what what the form is going to capture. That's opposed to the like suggested designs before where there was like an explicit decision to say like submit as an anonymous person. And I think no one ever say anything about that. So basically like the way that I took it is like silence means agreement basically. But I don't know if that's a good policy. So I kind of like wanted to touch back on that, and I can try to find the comment where I captured that.
I think it's on. I don't think it's on the actual main issue.
Say which issue are you talking about?
It's in the. I don't think it's the main visual review app issue. I think there's another related issue about that where I left that comment. Let me see if I can find it.
Is it an issue we're working in 12.6? Or is it one that's already closed?
It's probably an issue that it's already closed, but it's relevant to this. You know what? Let's not get stuck on this. I'm gonna find the comment and then I'm gonna bring it to the main issue, the
okay.
11474.
Okay.
So we can actually have like some closure to that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think that will be the best idea. But do you have thoughts about that? That was kind of like my main question. Like, do you think that
I mean, I'm okay with people being able to submit the anonymous feedback. We have this thing feature flagged off right now.
Yeah.
And if you're running self-hosted, you could always feature flag it off yourself. And it's only going to be available if somebody starts up the review app.
Okay. But my main question was like, do you have like a preference between like explicitly submitting as an anonymous, like saying I want to be anonymous, and then we say like, okay, this person is submitting as anonymous?
I don't think we need to add that feature on at this point.
Got it.
I think we can leave a text form and require you to put something there.
Okay.
And then the full code quality report in 12.6 is in an open state. It's assigned to Daniel still, but he should be getting it assigned to a front end yet today, hopefully. But that had some UX questions in it from Drew on the backend side.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I can look into it. I remember this issue. This is the issue of like showing like the whole full quality report in the MR widget, and like how like there's probably some concerns about that on how like we're gonna display it. So
yeah,
I'll look into it. but yeah, if that needs design, it should be very easy to do. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So my guidance initially was use what was done for the security report, where it's paginated, and then we just sort by points or remediation points with the
Okay.
biggest stuff on top. It
Okay.
seems like it's gonna hit most of our use cases of let me knock out the big stuff and improve my code quality pretty quickly.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. I'll look into it anyways to see if I can like chime in and say something else besides that.
Cool. Let's dig into 12.7 then a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm working on the CI view for Selenium on the designs. And when I was working on it, so first of all, I'm planning to share those designs early next week, like put them on this issue so people can look at them and kind of like give feedback. Like perhaps like we can ping the people who like share these early designs to get their feedback as well. The question that I had for you is that, so since this is gonna live in the CI view, the CI view has the runner logger, right? There at the top. And these designs, as they are shown here, apparently they are kind of like assuming that that's not gonna be there. So my question for you is like, I don't think that's a correct assumption. I think the runner log should stay there. What we probably need to do is collapse it and then show these, right?
Yeah. So you would have within a job, you're looking at a specific output. And
Yeah,
that's
so,
where you have that view.
So let me show you. I can show you better. Project. Let me just open any job. All right. I'm gonna share my screen quickly. So what I'm assuming they were thinking is like, because it's a Selenium job, you're on my screen, right?
Yep.
Because it's a Selenium job, like they probably think, okay, we instead of showing this runner logger, we can probably just show like the raw logs coming from Selenium and the like rich view with the screenshots. But what I'm thinking is that we cannot really get rid of this because this is also like printing things from the runner itself. Like, you know, it's so what I was thinking is like the solution, the way that I see it is probably the best thing that we can do is that we add like a collapsible functionality to this thing, and then this thing is collapsed, and then like below that we have the tabs, you know, Selenium or whatever. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
That makes sense. I mean, does that already collapse? What's that second?
No, it doesn't. Like actually,
is that just like scroll back and forth in the okay.
Exactly. Yeah, this is to the bottom and this is to the top.
And then top. Okay. Yeah, if we can just minimize that window.
Yeah, and I think it should be pretty easy, like from like a design, like front end perspective. I'm gonna suggest that on the issue, and then I'm gonna tag Dimitri to see if he has any thoughts on that. But I think collapsing these makes sense, because if we're gonna keep like enriching this view, then we need to do that anyways, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's share that we'll share it via this video and get some feedback from our front end folks to see if they have some input on what that would feel like.
All right.
What the effort would be.
Sounds good. Yeah, so that's coming along. I'm very confident about like the things that I'm gonna do. I think that the only kind of like other question that I have is that there's this ticket, the 34152, which is in solution validation as well. And I was wondering how is that different from what we already did solution validation wise on Selenium CIV?
Yeah, so this was just a result of you and I both opened a solution validation item.
Okay.
And
So I think
previously we talked about we were just going to leave them both open for now and then figure out what to do when we got done with the interviews. So that would be a great time to have that conversation of what are we going to do with these two issues.
Got it. Well, I read through this one, and I think we kind of already answered those questions through the interviews.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind closing this one, and then like basically like linking this issue to the other issue, and like maybe leave a comment saying like I don't know, whatever you want to do, but I think like we should like probably close this one.
So Lori, would love your input here. What's the normal workflow for something that goes from solution validation, and is that a UX item or is that just an issue in the GitLab project? And how does that get into then the development workflow? What's your experience been with that?
Yeah, so what I know is that from doing the solution validation, you should have a research issue open that says somebody's doing research on this solution validation for this particular process or feature. And then you conduct the research, and then I've sent Juan some instructions on how to do this. Once you look at the issues, the findings from the research for the issue, there's a process to create an epic in the insights repo, and then you put each insight associated with that epic in as an issue, and you link them, and then you tag the heck out of everything. And this allows people to go back to the insight repo later and search for CI Selenium, and you can find whatever was dealt with that. What did we find? What projects? After that's done, there also should be a discussion between whoever did the research and product and development to say, this is what we've learned. This is what I suggest that we do with what we've learned. What would you like to do with what we've learned? So that process is different with everybody because everybody kind of has their own little situation, how they want to handle it. But typically the product manager will say, okay, we will want to change the feature in this way or take on these additional pieces now development. How much time will it take? Can you get it done in X milestone? You tell me, like, and then that's that negotiation process of trying to put it on the roadmap after that.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
After we've validated the solution?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because validating solution might also uncover other issues that you may have to pull it out of the roadmap for, because you might need to design additional solutions and validate those too.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we'll need an insights item for insights.
So I'm gonna.
And then one of these two. My inkling is take the old issue. We close the one that we have. We work some of the feedback into which one is it? The one that's in 12.7 now.
Okay.
The CI view for Selenium MVC. Ideally, what would have happened is instead of that being an MVC item, it would have been initially just an item with a problem validation workflow tag on it, or workflow label on it rather. And then it became one with a solution validation label, and then it turned into an issue itself. I think as I'm reading the product development flow handbook page, that looks like what the intent is. I think we could always spawn new issues though, if like our solution validation has turned, like that issue has grown so much, or our problem validation turned into, we have to validate 4 solutions. Like that initial item isn't going to be one thing that we keep iterating on over and over. Instead, it'll spawn out a bunch of new solution validation items. So I would, let's close the one that I have opened. We'll keep the one you have opened and create an insights item over in that insights project. Does that sound reasonable as next steps?
Yeah, so I think, so basically rephrasing that. So I think the idea is to close this one, right?
Yes.
Then we I'm gonna add all the insights to the UX research insights repo, and then we link all those issues to this one, right?
Yeah, we'll put a link to
No.
the canvas in there. We'll put a link to the insight stuff in there.
No,
So
you create an epic. No, I understand. I think I think I know where you're going, Lori. I mean, like the process of the UX research, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do all that stuff. I'm gonna create the epic. I'm gonna do all that stuff,
Yeah.
so it's searchable. I'm just saying, like for our internal processing testing,
mhm.
I probably should put the insights, like the links to all the insights that resulted from that here.
So what Release had me do, and I'm doing this for everybody else that I'm finishing up projects for, is in the Epic, in the Insights repo, to also link the initial issues, so
Okay.
where all of these discussions started, as well as the research ask issue, because that happened outside of that Insights repo. That's in the research repo. So they told me if I link those to that Epic, it will pull through to those issues.
Oh, that
So they can,
makes sense. Yeah, it's validated.
yeah. So, and I don't think that's documented anywhere yet. It's on my list of things to suggest an MR for. But yeah, that might make it easier. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think like when you do that, like it's bi-directional, so like it probably should
Uh-huh.
this automatically. Yeah. I'll test that. I'll do it. I'm
Okay.
gonna create those insights today, and then like we'll see what happens. I'll let you know.
Yeah, okay, cool.
All right. So the other thing that it's on open on 12.7, was wondering like this. I think I'm not aware of these two yet. So.
The automated accessibility scanning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put that into 12.7 to start the discussion with development of what it would take. But I think we might be premature since we're just wrapping or still into, really problem validation of that. Like I need to put together the opportunity canvas and review it. I don't think we're going to get that wrapped and the solution validation done in the 12.6 Epic.
Yeah. Okay. So this seems that this could be like actually this could be workflow design item for 12.7 maybe.
Yeah, we might end up doing some, I think we'll get done with the problem validation cycle. We validated that a problem is out there. And then we can work on design a user story map and use that, again, as I'm reading this product flow. We use those artifacts as part of our solution validation to go back to either those initial users or a set of users who we've identified who want accessibility, continuous accessibility scanning in part of their flow, and show them that solution, describe that workflow for them, make sure that we understand it, and that it solves their problem and gets their outcome, right?
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Cool.
Then this change pages widget in visual review function.
Oh yeah, that's, were you on the testing grooming call earlier this week when we talked through this?
No, I had another call. I don't know what was it. Oh, I had a CI/CD UX review call, so I couldn't make it to that one.
So what we initially thought was that this was going to be a great big thing, and then as we started digging into it, we realized that basically that drop down on view app, we want to add that to review. Okay. That's literally the change. Like all of the backend code exists. This is just a way to solve the problem. Like for me, for release post of, I just want to go look at the thing I just changed.
Yeah, of course. That makes a lot of sense. Because you open the app, it opens the app like in the first, like in the entry point. So you got to go and like find whatever changes, right? Yeah.
There's also an interesting opportunity here with a tooltip or some help text or something about if you're building a static site like the handbook or like about.gitlab.com, you can make use of the route map so that pages that are like markdown pages, like the release post, that gets mapped to a static page. And if you're using that map, we can leverage that in the dropdown. Okay. So that you can get to that page itself, which is a case here that we would want to use. But that feature and documentation of how to do that is like super hidden and not intuitive. And like half of the team figured out what route maps were. Most of the team figured out what route maps were on that call.
Got it.
And yeah, like granted, a bunch of us are new to GitLab, but like it was still like 1 or 2 people knew that that existed and that we can make use of it. So that's something we think that we can add to the discoverability, or just add to awareness for users. If they're using this, they might need to use that route map. So thinking about how we're using a tooltip there or helper text would be super interesting as part of the UX cycle on this.
Okay, no, that's a great idea. So I'm gonna look into this too, and I'm probably gonna watch that call. Did we record that one, that grooming?
If we did, I don't know if it made it up to unfiltered. You'll have to ask Elliot for the recording.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So I think the last thing was checking problem validation items. So
yeah, so I haven't had a chance to go in and look at the insights, all of the insights yet from the accessibility stuff. It's on my list for today or next week as meetings kind of free up.
I did, and there's a lot of like, first of all, thanks, Lori. That was pretty great. I think there's so much useful stuff there. I think I think we probably gotta do like, James, you and I, we probably should do kind of like maybe like get together like for like 30 minutes and like try to like analyze what's the most important thing that we got from that.
Yep.
We kind of already have an idea, like based on like what I'm seeing on the like on the 12.7. Okay, whatever. That 12.7 adding like automatic accessibility to the review apps. I think that's kind of like a good first move from this, but I think it's a good idea to just like analyze from those insights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next steps are, you and I do a deep dive on the results. That makes its way into the opportunity canvas, and then we go from there. Because if we get approval on the opportunity canvas, we may even start doing like some story mapping and design, starting to do some design and bring that with us as potential solutions or potential workflow items that we could then validate as part of a solution validation cycle.
All right. No, that's perfect.
And we are at time. And speaking of problem validation, my next thing is actually an interview for load testing problem validation that I need to go jump on.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna join that one too. So
great. All right.
Thanks,
thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.